All right, what is going on, guys? UFC Fight Night Moraeno versus Albazi has ended yesterday, and I took some time and found out what are the fights to make after this event. We're going to start off down here with Alexander Romanov, excuse me, beat Rodrigo Nascimento via decision. Kind of boring fight, out-grappled him a little bit. Romanov's biggest strength is his grappling. That's probably what he's best at. And he called for the Derek Lewis rematch, rebooking of the fight with Derek Lewis. If you don't know, originally him and Derek Lewis were scheduled to fight. Then they broke those two apart and gave them each a different opponent. So they could essentially add a new fight to this card. I mean, I guess they could have had those guys fight each other, but they wanted different matchups for whatever reason. I don't think we should rebook it. If I'm being honest, Derek Lewis, he's regressing. He's not as good as he used to be. He still has that power. The power's not ever going to go away. But he's never going to be towards the title again, like a title shot or anything. I don't think Romanov is either. But let's give him Sergey Spivak. They've never fought before. It's a jump up in the rankings. It's not like he's really earned it, but it's heavyweight. Anyone below rank number 5 in heavyweight's pretty garbage. It's two grapplers, essentially. I think it'd be a fun matchup. If Spivak ever wants to get towards the top 5 again, he had that one shot, but versus Gone, but got not fraud checked, but he got beat pretty bad in that fight. So I think this would be a good matchup in the heavyweight division. All right, moving on. So as you notice, I added Yusuf Zalal over here. I actually forgot to put him in here, so I went and got a matchup for him real quick, and that is against Pat Sabatini. Nope, I don't want to edit it. Pat Sabatini, back in the win column after his win over Jonathan Pierce. He is a pretty good grappler, decent. He's got good power, decent striking, definitely stronger in the grappling. And I think if Yusuf Zalal can get one more win, he's looked really good in his last few outings. So if he could get one more good win like Pat Sabatini, then he will definitely be ready to fight someone in the lower half of the top 15 of the bantamweight division. Featherweight division, not bantamweight division. Definitely win over Pat Sabatini. Get a shot. Man, I just can't fucking talk today. Anyway, we're just gonna fucking move on. I'm gonna shut up. Ayman Zahabi gets a win over Pedro Munoz. Looks pretty good in that fight. It was a pretty clear, dominant win. And I think one more win for... I almost said Pedro Munoz. One more win for... I can never remember his name. Ayman Zahabi. And he will be able to fight for someone in the top 15 of the bantamweight division. And I'm going to give him someone who has been in the top 15 of the bantamweight division before as well, as Pedro Munoz has. And that is Chris Gutierrez. Chris Gutierrez kind of... He's okay. Got in over that flying knee over Frankie Edgar. So it wasn't like the best win Frankie Edgar. I think it was his retirement fight, if I remember correctly. That shit was depressing. And he brought his kids. They had to watch him get brutally knocked out. But, so yeah, he gets a win over Chris Gutierrez. Then I think he can fight someone in the top 15 that will have earned him the right. Moving on, Mike Malott. You got a Mike Malott performance. I'll leave it at that. Not a big fan of Mike Malott. We're going to give him Jake Matthews. I am a fan of Jake Matthews, though. Jake Matthews kind of just back and forth, trading wins and losses. But a solid test for both guys. If either one of these, they're not particularly old, they're not particularly young. I believe they're both in their early 30s, if I remember correctly. So if they want to try and move towards the top 15 of that welterweight division, then a win over one another would do them a solid in moving forward. So I think this would be a pretty good striking matchup. Yeah, I would say, good striking matchup. I don't think either one of them would go out there and offensively grapple. So that'd be a fun matchup to watch. Moving on, Dustin Stolfus, the lock of the card. I like this matchup, Joe Pyfer. He has a win over Joe Pyfer on Dana White's Contender Series, Joe Pyfer got injured. Pyfer called for this. I believe it was on Instagram or X. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is a perfect matchup. Or rematch, I guess it would be. If I'm being honest, I think Joe Pyfer wins that fight pretty easily. Not 100% confident in it. Stoltzfus has that good power, as he just showed in his last fight. But this would be a very good matchup. That's for sure. So, book it. And then if Pyfer wins like he says, I agree with him. Give him someone in the top 15 again. He got kind of exposed against Jack Hermanson. I mean, he still had a good outing. I believe he won, if I remember correctly, the first 2 rounds. So, just wasn't ready for that 5-round fight. Moving up. Jasmine Jasudavicius. It's time to give her a step up in competition, and we're going to give her the measuring stick of the women's flyweight division, and being Amanda Ribas. She's kind of the staple of the top 10. She's always been around the top 10 for most of her career that I can remember, at least. So this would be, if she wants to get towards the title, I believe she's like 33, 34. She's kind of older. So if she wants to make it to a title before she wins, or, at least get a title shot, she definitely needs to get a win over someone like Amanda Ribas. And same with Ribas. She's kind of in the same boat. She's been trading wins and losses quite a bit, although it being much higher level competition. But if she ever wants to get up towards the top 5, then she needs to be able to knock out these contenders. Moving up, Rose Namajunas loses the co-main event. Just rebooked the Macy Barber fight. They were originally scheduled to fight, if I remember correctly, instead of Blanchfield. I don't know if it was on this card or a different card. I swear Rose and Barber were meant to fight at some point, and they did not for whatever reason. So just rebook that fight. I think it would be, you could throw it on the prelims of a pay-per-view. It'd be a solid fight. I could see him throwing it on a pay-per-view. I would not throw it on a pay-per-view. You could do it like a main card of a fight night. That would be a solid, like the featured fight. That would be a solid featured fight for a fight night. But don't throw it on a pay-per-view. Please do not throw it on a pay-per-view. Moving on. Erin Blanchfield, winner of the co-main event. She's kind of in a weird spot in the women's flyweight division because you have, so Shevchenko finally got her belt back, which I thought she should have in her last fight anyway. Or the fight before that, I guess. You have Manon Fior, who's definitely deserving of the next women's flyweight title shot. So after that, the only thing I'm kind of worried about is I think Fior beats Shevchenko. I think Shevchenko's regressed a lot, and Fior is big and strong and powerful. If she beats Shevchenko, I could totally see them giving her another immediate rematch. I don't want to see another immediate rematch. She just got 2 of them, essentially. Even though one of them, I thought she won the fight. It shouldn't have been a draw. She won the fight. But yeah. So, what I got for Erin Blanchfield in the meantime is Alexa Grasso. She called her out. I believe it was in the... I don't think it was the Octagon interview. I think it was the post-fight press conference. She called out Alexa Grasso. This is a great matchup for her. I even mentioned it in my post-fight breakdown reaction video. So this would be a good fight. She's coming off the loss, losing her belt, Grasso that is, and Blanchfield's kind of close to the number 2 contender, if you will, after Manon Fior. So if Manon Fior goes out there and loses Shevchenko, Shevchenko's going to need somebody to fight. Now, to be fair, if Grasso wins over Blanchfield, which I don't think she will, I would want her to personally get one more win before they go in to do a 4th fight. But that's just me. Moving on, Amir Albazi, loser of the main event, essentially got dominated for all 5 rounds. He's going to need to take a little bit of time off, maybe come back April of next year, March, April, something like that. And who I think he needs to go up against. Flyweight's tricky. So there's not a lot of stuff going on in the flyweight division. A lot of people have fought each other multiple times. So I'm going to give him this matchup, Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira, coming off of a loss versus Brandon Royval. Very close competitive fight. Very close competitive fight. Royval admitted it. You know, he thought he was going to be able to blow him out of there. Pause. So I think this would be a good fight, very good fight, and I would slightly favor Tatsuro Taira probably to win that fight versus Albazi, but he took quite a bit of damage in this fight, so he needs to take a little bit of time off. And this will give Taira, you know, Taira's young, so he has time. This will give him time to train, work on, I mean, he's got good grappling, so work on his striking some more. This is almost be a grappler's matchup, even though Albazi really didn't try to grapple Moraeno much. But anyway, moving on. Brandon Moraeno, the winner of the main event. Look, he said he wants a title shot. He needs to get one more win, I think. Regardless of what happens versus when Pantoja and Kaya Sakura fight, I think Royval deserves to fight the winner, regardless it's Pantoja. And then if it is Kaya Sakura, definitely deserves to fight him. He has a win over a surging up-and-coming contender in Tatsuro Taira. Before that, a win over Brandon Moraeno, a former two-time flyweight champion. That 100% earns him a title shot, even if it's Pantoja, who he's lost to, was it 2 or 3 times already? I think it's twice he's lost to Pantoja, if I remember correctly. So, Moraeno. What does he do? He needs to get, you know, I'm thinking here, he said he doesn't want to fight Kai France again, which is what I was going to say. France is coming off of a win. The flyweight division is kind of tricky. It's kind of heating up, but again, there's just too many people that fight each other. Let's inject this into the top 5 of the flyweight division. Asu Almabayev just beat Mateus Nicolau, who has been cut from the UFC, I believe. I know it's a big step up in competition. I believe he's ranked number 8 or 7. But if Moraeno doesn't want to fight anybody that he's not fought before, this is fresh blood for the flyweight division. So if he gets a win over Moraeno, he's next in line after Royval for whoever's the champion. This would be a really good matchup. Moraeno has very good wrestling, good takedown defense, was able to get up every time Albazi was able to get him down. This would be a very good banger matchup. You could make this a fight night main event or a co-main event. I'm not sure when they're going back to Mexico, but you could put this on that card depending when it is. I don't know how long either one of these guys are wanting to wait to fight. But let me know what you guys think of these fights in the comment section down below. What do you guys have any alternate fights you would rather see? Leave that in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Drop a like on this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.